Chapter 22. After receiving an urgent message from Gatria a few days ago, Solal and Hakarin decided to postpone their departure to the Nail archipelago in order to help Trevin first. Thus, Solal was currently using her essence to draw out the excess heat in Trevin's body that was causing him pain, while Gatria was on Trevin's side, ready to heal him once Solal had absorbed all the heat that was preventing her essence from fully reaching Trevin's core. The dwarves graciously provided food for Gatria's companions when they eventually reached the coast. After days of non-stop travel, they finally began to feel the effects of hunger and exhaustion. But no one gave in to their bodies' cries for rest. They were all waiting for Gatria to emerge from the tent and informed them of Trevin's condition, and their patience was rewarded after more than an hour of waiting. Queen Gatria finally stepped out of the tent with a relaxed expression on her face as she updates them about Trevin's condition. He's okay now, but he needed to rest for a few days. The collective sigh of relief was heard. "Can I see him?" Zarek asked after the relief washed over him. Gatria nodded. "Of course, just be careful not to wake him." Zarek was about to stand up when Solal emerged from the tent and looked at Gatria's companions. Solal, who was seeing Zarek and Plume for the first time, observed them through her lava-like eyes while the two were frozen in place under the Mistress of Flame's gaze. The woman's eyes seemed like they could scorch Zarek to a crisp. Fear gripped him, and he desperately wanted to get away from those eyes. But the pressure she exudes was too much for him to bear. Even his scimitar was shaking as if it wanted to get away from the woman. Zarek could see the woman beside Gatria clearly. Despite what most of the people he encountered assumed, he was not blind. He was merely concealing his eyes from everyone's prying gaze. Since the material covering his eyes was enchanted, he could see everyone clearly when he wanted to. "Who is she?" As Zarek was thinking this, one of his companions, Plume, knelt down on one knee and bowed reverently to the woman. "Greetings to Her Highness, the Mistress of Flame. I am Plume of the Phoenix race." Zarek's eyes blinked behind the cloth. He had heard of the Mistress of Flame from Jerk when he was still pretending to be his ally. "The Queen of Flame and Destruction, Queen Solal, no wonder I feel like hiding. Flame was a demon's weakness. Even if he was only a half-demon, Flame could still significantly weaken him. I'm Zarek, Your Highness." Zarek, who had previously been rendered immobile, managed to successfully introduce himself. "He helped us in the kingdom of Tretera," Gatria added before subtly whispering in Solal's ears. "Trevin fancies him." "Oh." Solal's face brightened up before elegantly placing her hand over her heart and introduced herself. "You may call me Solal. I am pleased to meet you." "Sure," the innocent Zarek quickly responded. Plume horrifiedly exclaimed. "There is no way I could address you as such, Your Highness." "It's okay," Solal smiled. "You're Gatria's companions. That means you're our people. It's not a big deal." Zarek nodded while Plume vehemently opposed it. Gatria suppressed a smile. "Solal looked so different when she acts like a queen and not the Mistress of Flame." "Well, she may be childish most of the time and hard-headed, but she was raised to be a queen." She was relieved that Solal was finally beginning to be herself. She had heard from Sierra what Solal was like when they were traveling together to save her in the Hallowed Valley. According to Sierra, Solal was silent and didn't show any emotion at all. That's why seeing Solal like this now, she was relieved that their youngest was back to being a headache once again. "How did you meet Gatria, Plume?" Gatria turned to Solal after hearing that. "In the kingdom of Tretera, she's the spy hackerin planted in the palace. After she helped me get my regalia, she said she wanted to follow me, so I'm stealing her from you." Usalo blinked in surprise before smiling when she understood the glint in Gatria's eyes. Oh my, I feel betrayed. She looked at Plume. Aren't I the mistress of the Phoenix's race? Please forgive me for my transgressions, Your Highness. That is not what I meant. Plume was now bowing down fully, her forehead touching the sand as she knelt on both knees. It's just that, I adored Queen Gatria, I mean Her Highness, the Mistress of Nature. She was so dazzling and beautiful and brave and scary that I want to follow her for the rest of my life. Her Highness, the Mistress of Flame, will always be the mistress of the Phoenix's race, but my heart belongs to Queen Gatria, I mean no, that's. I mean no disrespect, please forgive me. Solal stifled a chuckle. Plume, I'm just kidding you. I actually don't mind if you want to follow Gatria. You would be a big help to her for sure. Now raise your head. Plume raised her head and tears were flowing down her cheeks. When Gatria saw the tears, she shook her head at Solal. Look, you made Plume cry, bad Solal. Solal pouted at Gatria. You told me with your eyes to tease her. Gatria pulled her innocent face. I did when? Solal glared at Gatria and stomped her feet like a child toward Hakarin. That made Gatria laugh to herself secretly before helping Plume up. I'm sorry. I couldn't help teasing you, Gatria admitted before drying Plume's tears with her fingers. There, don't cry, Plume sniffed. I was so scared. Gatria gently patted Plume's back. Don't be. Salo may be hot-headed and destructive, but she was not unreasonable. Well, sometimes. Plume composed herself and wiped the tears from her cheeks while taking a big breath. I'm okay now, Your Highness. Gatria sighed at Plume. If you're going to accompany me, at least call me Queen Gatria or Gatria, whichever you prefer. Plume gulped and looked down. QQ Queen Gatria. Gatria found Plume stuttering cute. There, easy, right? Plume let out a deep breath and thought, no, that was very hard, Your Highness. Gatria held back from teasing Plume more than she already had. Gatria didn't want to upset Plume by making her cry again, despite the fact that she was fun to tease. Why don't you rest for a bit? Gatria motioned her hand at the tent next to Trevin's. Plume shook her head. Q-Queen Gatria should rest first. The non-stop journey here took a lot out of Her Highness' precious essence. Agatria regarded Plume with amusement. You can say you to address me, Plume. We will be traveling together, so replace the Her Highness with you. With great difficulty, Plume did. Why you spent a lot of essence on our non-stop journey here, so why you should rest too, Q-Queen Gatria. Agatria nodded, satisfied. They're easy, right? Plume wanted to shake her head and say that it's definitely not easy, but seeing Queen Gatria's satisfied expression on her face, she quickly conceded. Now rest. Agatria told Plume before walking toward Grath, who was feeding the wyvern and the basilisk. Grath, you rest as well. Grath nodded at Gatria after he had finished feeding the two beasts, despite his opinion that the queen should rest first. Yes, Your Highness. Gatria started walking toward Solal and Hakarin after Grath's affirmative response. I have some information. Gatria informed the pair when she reached them. Hakarin immediately lost his warm gaze towards Solal and became attentive as he gave his attention to Gatria, while Solal just faced Gatria and silently waited. I met two powerful individuals in my travel to Tretera. Gatria started. The first one, I didn't personal meet them, but they could wound a dragon with their lightning. It only happened for less than a minute, but it was strong enough to make me cough up blood when I blocked it. Usalal's lips parted in astonishment. Whoever it was that made Gatria cough up blood must have been quite powerful. And the second one is named Riraris. She has the power of wind and ice. Wind and ice? Hakarin echoed in confusion. Gatria nodded at Hakarin. Yes, she created a cyclone with sharp ice shards inside. She's strong. I was only able to cage her with tree roots for a short time because the whole capital of Tretera was overflowing with my blood. And because I stole her basilisk. She cast a quick glance at Eras and went on. There's also someone who just appeared while I was about to kill Kar in Sarn. Now, three unknown individuals, Hakarin muttered under his breath. Their appearance seemed random. Gatria nodded, but I don't think that's the case. Fighting Ruraris, I feel like I'm battling with someone that resembled us, she glanced at Solal, a being blessed by a deity. However, I didn't feel any divine blessing from her. What I felt was eeriness and malice. But she could still wield such strong power, Gatria nodded at Solal. Between her and Astrid, who's stronger? Frowning, Solal asked. Gatria pondered the question for some time before responding. I can't say. They wield wind differently. I think it all comes down to experience in battle. Ruraris is not someone who's adept in sword and hand-to-hand combat. She relies on her powers more than her physical strength. Very different to Astrid, who enjoys beating someone to pulp with her fist. Solal said while nodding before letting out a loud breath, I will focus on reaching Inwin fast. A Hakarin interjected, I will tell Gabin to investigate these mysterious individuals. We'll start with that woman, Ruraris. Gatria nodded at Hakarin. I will personally look into her as well. She said that, but her plan was to ask Drago once they see each other again. I will call you two once I have more information. Solal and Hakarin both nodded before Solal turned to look at the ship behind her. We will set sail in an hour. She turned her attention back to Gatria. I'll see you soon with Enwin, Gatria smiled. And I will see you soon with Astrid. Take care. Both Solal and Gatria's eyes blazed with determination to rescue Enwin and Astrid. Even though Solal was a bit scared of Astrid, she still wanted to be reunited with Astrid, whom she considered her elder sister. Are you staying here for a few days? Hakarin asked Gatria afterwards. Yes, Gatria glanced at the tent where Trevin was. Once Trev is okay, we will leave for Selim Kingdom. For some reason, Solal couldn't make eye contact with Gatria. What? Gatria asked with a slight frown. Solal looked everywhere but Gatria. I suggest you don't stop at Igni's kingdom. The sacred forest bordered the Igni's kingdom, which was separated by steep mountains. Immediately, Gatria understood. Solal, what did you do? Solal couldn't answer Gatria, that's why Hakarin did. My Kratika burned a temple in the Igni's kingdom's capital. Oh, Gatria was actually expecting the worst, but that was, well, not the worst thing Solal could do. Why? Because they're annoying. Solal clicked her tongue. They say they worship Lady Ignis, but they do not want to coexist with any race. How dare they use my deity's name and not adhere to my deity's teachings? Solal's anger was making the air around her sizzle. I will not let them use my deity's name in vain. I would have burned their whole capital if we're not trying to travel inconspicuously. Gatria glanced at Hakarin and Hakarin just shrugged, as if telling Gatria that whatever Solal wanted to do, he would let her. Gatria could only sigh. I understand. You can always come back and burn them later, so calm down. That really did calm Solal, and a smile even speared across her beautiful face. You're right, Gatria. I can always burn them later. Egatria smiled and nodded at Solal before changing the topic. Have a safe trip, you two. Trevin told me there are a lot of sea monsters in the ocean toward Nail Archipelago, so don't let your guards down. Solal suddenly hugged Gatria before speaking softly. I will take care of myself, so you take care of yourself too. Gatria patted Solal's back and smiled. The next time we see each other, we will be complete. Solal pulled away from Gatria and nodded with a smile. Yes. The four of us together once again. Gatria gently messed Solal's hair. Take it easy and make sure you stop Enwin from doing any crazy stuff. Solal avoided Gatria's eyes. I'll, try. Egatria could only sigh and accept that the chances of Solal stopping Enwin from doing a lot of crazy things was below zero. What she could see was Solal doing crazy things with Enwin. Just remember that you don't want Astrid angry. Solal finally looked at Gatria. Solal could feel that Gatria was saying that more to herself than to her. Solal's gaze softened. Gatria, it's not your fault. Gatria just smiled, and Solal could feel Gatria's anguish hidden in that smile. She could understand because she was carrying the same guilt, too. All Solal could do was hug Gatria again, hoping that it'll somehow lessen the guilt Gatria was feeling. Inside Trevn's tent, Trevin woke up to Zerk sharpening his scimitar beside him. It was such a vicious sight that his eyes automatically closed. However, Zerk already saw Trevin open his eyes. You're finally awake. Zerk's cold voice reached Trevin's ear. Thankfully, Zerk had finally stopped sharpening his scimitar when Trevin opened his eyes again. Yes, I'm awake. How are you feeling? Trevin, having checked on his health as soon as he awoke, responded to Zerk with confidence. Good as new, the queens must have healed me together. Zerk nodded and continued talking in his typical emotionless voice. Yes, Queen Gatria never stopped imbuing you with her essence the whole time we were traveling here because it was the only thing keeping you alive for so many days. Then, a lopsided smile appeared on Trevin's lips. Are you here alone to look after me? Trevin could only sigh helplessly as Zerk nodded nonchalantly as if it were nothing. What was he expecting from this innocent half-demon? Where are we, by the way? Trevin started to get up, but Zerk placed his hand on Trevin's chest and pushed him down, making Trevin's eyes widened. We are on the shores of the sacred forest. The queen said you need to rest, so rest. Zerk's voice was still cold, but it had a more authoritative tone than normal. Still, it carried a hint of innocence. Rest means not moving, so don't move. Trevin blinked at Zerk in surprise, and a thought entered his mind. This was the same thought he had when he first met Zerk. I was right, you're not blind. Zerk made no attempt to conceal this from Trevin. Yes, I'm not. I just don't want anyone to see my eyes, so I covered them. Trevin's hand reached out, and his fingers gently stroked the cloth covering Zerk's eyes. An enchanted cloth? It's my mother's keepsake. Anyway, resting includes not moving your arm as well. Zerk took Trevin's hand and set it back down on the bed softly. Don't move around, I'll watch you. Trevin couldn't help chuckling. Watch me, huh? Yes. But please don't put yourself in danger again, I was worried. Zerk did not appear worried at all. Though he appeared cold, Trevin could tell that Zerk was being sincere. He was worried in his own way. He did help them capture Jerk, who came to save the king. I told you, meeting them and siding with them are two different things. Zerk picked up his scimitar and placed it on his lap. I only met them because of my father's request, but I have my own mind when it comes to who to fight with. Zerk's mindset amazed Trevin but did not voice it out. He just thanked him once again. By the way, Zerk, yes. I can't see your eyes, but I can feel them. I don't think I can rest with you watching me like a hawk. Why don't you rest as well? No, you sleep. I just woke up, though. I don't care. Sleep, you need to rest. But I'm good now. No, you're not. I told you I can smell your soul, right? It doesn't smell delicious at the moment. That means you're not really good as new. Your body may have healed, but your soul had been impacted greatly that it's in recovery. So rest, don't worry, I won't bite you. I'm not worried about you biting me. I actually think I would like it, but Trevin kept it to himself. All right, I'll sleep. Zerk's lips formed into a small, satisfied smile. Good. Trevin, who saw that beautiful smile, could only blink at Zerk's handsome face and internally scream, Gatria, take this handsome half-demon away from me. CCLIBCC.